Good afternoon. Today's topic is transforming stress using heart-brain coherence techniques and why relaxation is not enough. So I'm Sana Carpellotti, alchemist, strategist, HeartMath coach. I have a private practice in the South Hills of Pittsburgh, and I teach and speak and lead a retreat that will be announced shortly for the fall of 2019, called From Hurt to Healed. And if you want to get on the waiting list there, you're welcome to do that and see if it's something that can work for you. So you can always reach me with your questions or comments at sanacarpellotti.com. So I do want to say that there's a storm rumbling through here, and it has been on and off for the last couple hours. So if I lose you, I will reset this in the very near future. So today the topic is stress, and I think it's something that we can all benefit from because stress is a silent killer. And the important piece to keep in mind is that our beliefs and expectations, along with the level of stress that we carry into any given situation or any event, can be heard and can determine our next steps as well as our future. Now, you can also hear stress can be heard in our language, in the words that we choose, in how we talk about things that happen to us. And it kind of makes how we respond a little bit predictable. We might say things like, I'm so crazed, or I'm just so busy. I don't have time. Why does this always happen to me? So look for that in your language patterns, because it will show you a little bit more, that'll take you deeper inside, because stress and also stress reduction is an inside job. It's within your charge. So we might find ourselves blaming somebody or a situation for how we feel, or we feel distressed when we have a certain emotion, maybe anger, or when we're uncomfortable about something, which is not inherently good or bad in and of itself. When we don't allow emotions to pass through us, or take an action or resolve the situation, we risk holding that tension internally. So prolonged emotional stress affects the body. You will feel it. So stress and recovery from a difficult event, we know it to be perceptual, and our responses can be determined by how depleted we are and the resources that we have within ourselves, our external support systems that are there for us, and also the meaning that the event has for us. Maybe you've heard yourself say at some point, I just can't take much more. So stress is a warning signal. So maybe you see traffic and you start cursing and pound the steering wheel. So if you do that enough times, you begin to associate traffic with an outburst, and you establish a neuro pattern. So when you turn the corner and you experience traffic, you curse, and it becomes a habit. So we can become accustomed to stressing. So we don't often realize the cause of stress. Cause can be current life struggles, things that are obvious, like the boss is demanding things of you. It can also be an accumulation of unresolved childhood stress issues. Maybe there was child abuse in your family, or maybe mom was ill, and also inherited trauma, things that occurred behind you that are buried in the subconscious. They have an effect on how we cope and manage stress today as well. So the other cause is that we're focusing on today more so is that we have faulty approaches for self-management. Now, nobody ever teaches us how to manage stress. I recall a time when I was about 28, 29, standing in my apartment in Lakeland, Florida, like literally sobbing because my father had just died and there were just so many other things happening and I didn't know how to manage myself. And I made a vow that I would find ways to not only help myself, but other people. And that's what I've done over the years. It gets confusing because there's some life shocks that can create a pretty big spike in the distress that we feel. Your child is in an accident, you receive a diagnosis, you have a fight with somebody, or somebody dies. Now, is it okay to cry, to feel angry, and to be upset? Of course. So, but there's many factors that determine how we respond to unexpected events and how long we hold on to the tension that we create. So how you react and how you manage the flow of life is a determining factor in also if you develop cardiovascular disease. And this has been founded through the HeartMath organization, through which I am a certified coach. You have a 4.5 times, wait a minute, you are 4.5 times likely to suffer cardiac arrest, a sudden cardiac arrest after a rage experience. And also you are at 2 times the risk to develop other types of cardiac problems. It also impacts stress also impacts how long you will live and the quality of life that you have. Now, there can be an enormous amount of discussion on this topic, and we know that that post-traumatic growth can occur out of any life situation, stress, or adversity, and that can certainly be a course that that you can attend. But I'm just going to mention it here because there's no life situation from which someone has not healed or learned from. So, we can't dismiss the accumulation of historic unresolved events when we're trying to manage through the current life stress that we have. So there's also the accumulation of little day-to-day things that we don't like or that upset us or delay us. But there's a heart, brain, body response that creates an ill at ease effect and disorder in the body. Okay, we know that stress hurts us. It's all pervasive, and we can even get pulled into the stress of other people when we're exposed to them. But, okay, our human system, is designed to handle stress and return to ease. So I want you to think for a moment now, how do you manage your stress? What do you do when you're upset or when there was a specific event that occurred? Maybe you watch TV, or you sleep more, or you take a walk, or you pop a pill, eat sugar, drink that extra glass of wine. Now you'll notice that this is a temporary fix because you might find yourself dozing off or feel some relief, but then the next day or within the next hour or so, you find yourself getting pulled back into the frenzy of your pattern. So the effects of stress are much more than the fatigue that we experience from running errands or being frustrated because there's traffic, or having pain because we twisted our ankle or get upset after an argument. When we carry these emotions forward, and that's this tension forward, if we hold on to the past, we're essentially replaying the past over and over again. The problem is that we don't return to ease or have much peace because we don't know how to effectively help ourselves. So we look toward relaxation to make us feel better. Well, we believe that that a vacation will help us find that peace, and we say, well, I just need to get away, and we'll go relax at the beach. Well, we're essentially resting the body, maybe quieting the mind, and we're listening to the waves and dozing on in and off. But when you relax, you might notice that, the heart rate drops, you're breathing a little easier, but coherence in the body is not established because those stress patterns are imprinted in heart rate variability in your brain and nervous system. And we also have beliefs and philosophies that support it. The world is not going to stop so you can rest. I mean, how many times have you said, well, I need a vacation from the vacation? So heart coherence is the key to reducing stress and building resilience in the body. So coherence doesn't always mean like a lowered heart rate, but there's a marked change in heart rate patterns, the rhythm pattern that speaks to the brain and the nervous system, and these become highly ordered and smooth. So let me show you what I'm talking about here in the workbook that we use in the HeartMath classes that I teach. So if you can see this this heart rate scale here. Okay, this is a police officer who was trained in the HeartMath techniques. So you can see that he's moving along in the day and he gets a call here about a domestic violence. So his stress level goes up a little bit, but then he quickly returns to his baseline. Okay, so then he goes to the actual event and does whatever he needs to do to stop the domestic violence. He makes decisions. But then you can see how he very quickly is able to return back to his baseline. Now, typically, see this, it's okay for us to have these stress experiences, but it's also as important for us to manage and begin to self-regulate after the event as soon as possible. After we're not threatened, after there's a certain degree of safety, after we've taken care of the situation, to return our bodies back to harmony. Now, typically what happens, and we see this every day in things that we do, is we have a stressful event, and then what happens is we stay up here with our stress, and it takes several hours to, if we even get back down to those lower levels. So you can see here how when there's coherence in the body, see this here is relaxation, okay? And this here is what happens in the body is the heart actually communicates 80% up to the brain, and the brain communicates 20% back down into the nervous system as well as the body. Now, HeartMath has been studying this for 40 years. Now, of course, the ancients have talked about this, thousands of years ago, that the heart was the dominating intelligence in the body. So you can see by when you manage, and we're going to do a technique here in a minute, which is a baseline foundational breath approach to reestablishing heart coherence, you can very quickly begin to change the disordered, kind of erratic nature of stress in the body as soon as possible, as soon as you're aware of what's happening. So, the HeartMath organization, they put it this way, and when I read this, I had to stop and think, because it was a very powerful image for me to realize that here's what they say: a chronic state of stress is like drops of acid circulating through your veins. Okay, that sounds painful. So HeartMath has over 300 peer-reviewed studies that they've conducted on the psychophysiology of stress and on your emotions and the interactions between the heart and the brain. And they offer proven programs, which I teach, my clients do in groups and also out in businesses. And they have technology that you can also self-monitor so that you can establish a baseline of coherence through your everyday. See, this is a chance for you to decide, for you to choose and to take actions, because stress reduction and your resiliency and recovery is actually an inside job. So when I went through the heart rate training a couple of years ago, it was really fascinating to get it from their perspective. I was introduced to HeartMath in the 90s, where a friend of mine dropped off a book called The Freeze Frame Technique, and I devoured that book, but I didn't realize until a couple of years ago that they had this training program. But we're taught that the brain orders the body, that everything comes from the brain down. And HeartMath has shown time and time again through these research studies that it's actually from the heart up and then the brain down, 80% up, 20% down. So heart activity affects brain functioning. It affects how you think. It affects your perceptions, your emotions, your problem-solving capability, as well as your ability to concentrate. So we know that heart rate, there's a different beat for different emotions and how our emotions, and it also affects our emotions and cognitive functioning. The good thing is that you can enter into this discussion, into this communication in the body to affect change. So there are signals that travel to the brain, and the brain becomes limited if the heart is beating erratically and also is disordered. We can't think, we become narrow focused, we can't reason and have we don't make really good decisions. But I want you to think about that for a second. Aren't those the skills that we need, that we don't need, that whenever we're trying to make decisions about how to manage stress? So heart rate variability tells us that even when the heart is resting and there's an irregularity to the beat, but heart rate variability measures beat to beat and that rhythm and that distance in between the beats. So the more erratic the heart, the more disordered the brain, and we carry that experience forward into our lives. This becomes a pattern in terms of how we cope. So when you set the heart with positive emotions through this breath technique called heart-focused breathing, there's a state of coherence that occurs, and the brain becomes influenced by your breath. So the heart is the central rhythm that sets the order in the body, the rhythmic orders in the body through communication to the brain. So HeartMath is about skill building. It's about empowerment. It's about teaching you things that you can do. You don't have to sit like this, in a meditative state, and you can actually affect great change in less than a minute for yourself. So they also offer electronic devices that you can monitor. So the more you use these techniques, then the the faster that you're able to change that inner ecology in the body. So breath plays a role in the establishment of coherence. And there's several ways that they teach effective breath techniques. So if you think about your breath rhythm, if you think about it in 10-second intervals, okay, so you're going to inhale to the count of 5 and then exhale to the count of 5 as slowly as you can. Now, obviously, if you're stressed, that may be a bit of a challenge, but if you just begin the process, maybe you start with 3 and then go to 4 and then go to 5. But the key is you want to draw breath in and out for up to 10 seconds. That begins to stabilize the rhythmic the movement and the flow of the heart and how it messages to the brain. So if you want to try that right now, okay, just put your attention on your heartbeat or just the heart area or the chest area here. Okay, and this is a really effective way to move away from whatever's happening internally, also whatever situation is happening outside, for you to change and shift your emotions and move into coherence, because your heart rhythms are going to affect your breathing rate that messages the brain. Okay, so just, you can close your eyes, you can keep your eyes open, it doesn't matter, but inhale to the count of 5 through the nose, and then exhale through the nose for the count of 5, and just do that 5 times. Just take it slow. Imagine that you're filling yourself with breath and then just easing breath out, and try to find balance between the inhale and the exhale, and also the transition as you move from the inhale to the exhale and the exhale to the inhale. Just allow yourself to create this nice, easy flow of breath going in and of air going in, and then breath moving out of the body. So learning how to self-regulate and how to manage yourself as soon as you are aware of that you're in a stress mode, and that you are in that place where you're conscious of it, and you take this one simple step, it will help you tremendously. Now, typically, here in my office space, I mean, my clients will have an effect within 5 breaths. But if you're in a very difficult situation, just keep breathing until you notice change, or you breathe for 5 to 7 times, and then maybe a half hour later, you do it again. Because if you don't engage yourself in a way that allows the heart to reestablish coherence, for the body to begin processing adrenaline and stress hormones, then you are going to carry that forward. And you may find yourself being irritable later on, or just stressing about something else. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email me at any time. Email me through my website, sanacarvalati.com, or Life Changing Energy Therapies. I teach HeartMath privately. I teach it to families, and I also go into businesses and teach them, because there's a huge cost to businesses for when employees are stressed and not doing their best every day. So I'm Sana Carpalati, lifechangingenergytherapies.com. Thank you all so much for being here. I look forward to speaking to you again. Have a good day.